All right, I'm going to teach you whippersnappers how to do a proper kettlebell swing, all from the beautiful scenery of my little outdoor training dojo. A little bit about the kettlebell swing and why I love it, why I think it's absolutely essential for those who want to train minimalist and get the most bang for their buck, and especially train outside, train at home. Kettlebell swing is the foundation of all kettlebell training. It is what is going to give you the kinesthetic understanding of creating leverage with the kettlebell that will translate into doing more complex things, more advanced things, single arm swings, moving through space with the kettlebell, all this stuff. It all starts with the kettlebell swing. Before we get into exactly how to do the kettlebell swing, let's talk about how to not do the kettlebell swing, because what I see online, and a lot, mostly in person if you go to like a gym or a YMCA or something like that, but definitely online as well, is people doing kettlebell swings in a way where they are going to mess themselves up. I want to tell you about 3 very common mistakes I see that are either have you looking like you're a monkey humping a football or about to just like snap your neck up. So let's avoid those things and learn to do a proper biomechanical kettlebell swing so we can get strong and do it safely for the long haul. About kettlebells. Kettlebell is a freaking cannonball that we're gonna swing through space. And the kettlebell swing itself develops the entire backside of the body. Everything, head, neck, lats, glutes, hamstrings, even the calves a bit. And it is a hinging exercise. So before we get into the mistakes, let's just talk about the proper setup for the kettlebell swing, because it's going to give us a little segue into the mistakes that we see so commonly made. So when I'm going to do a kettlebell swing, I'm going to have the kettlebell set up about 1 to 2 kettlebells in front of my feet. Okay, my feet are like a little more than shoulder width apart. They need to be a little wider once you start using the big bells. But I'm going to have my kettlebell about 1.5 to 2 kettlebells in front of me, and I'm going to start in a bit of a squat, but once we're actually in the kettlebell swing, it's not a squat movement, it's a hinge. It's an explosive hinge movement. To start the movement, we're going to tilt the kettlebell onto its side at 45 degrees. Okay, so we tilt it, we almost start to drag it, and you can see my weight starts to shift back, and that's where we start the first repetition from. We're gonna pull that kettlebell right up into this little triangle right here, not below our knees, but right up into here tucked as we send the butt back in space, and that's where we start the first movement. Okay, that's where we start the first repetition. What we want to avoid, the 3 things, starting with the first one, is we want to avoid a heavy knee bend when we're doing the kettlebell swing. So I'm gonna hike that kettlebell up, and then I'm gonna squeeze my butt and send it up into space like this. When that kettlebell comes back down, I'm not going to bend my knees and drop down like this. I'm going to let that kettlebell travel, and as it's about to cross my midline, I'm going to send my butt back in space and catch the weight of the kettlebell. Okay, so the first mistake is squatting down and getting that kettlebell all low. Now that leads into the second mistake. The second mistake is this super elongated lat. We need to actually retract the scaps and have the whole back engaged, because the kettlebell needs to, and you can do that by making sure that the kettlebell is staying tight inside this triangle. If your kettlebell is going down here, you're either squatting or you're getting lax with your lats, okay? So we need to make sure that we're not squatting, we're keeping a slight knee bend, but we're sending the butt back in space and hinging, and we're having our lats engaged, okay? The last mistake, which is maybe the most dangerous, especially as you start getting into the big bells, is when you do the kettlebell swing and the kettlebell is coming down between your legs and you're about to go into the next hip hinge, you look up like this. You send the head and neck into hyperextension, okay? You go like this. You hyperextend the spine and especially the head and the neck as it's coming down. That is going to break the continuity of tension through your whole backside of your body, your posterior chain. So what we actually need to do is we need to, when that kettlebell is up here, and I'll demonstrate it for you. It doesn't need to go any higher. It doesn't need to go up here. Although we'll get into high pulls at some point. It just needs to come to about collarbone height. As that kettlebell is coming back down, we want to almost think that the spine is just neutral. So you see how my head, my gaze, everything is, it's following the kettlebell. Okay? I'm not hyperextending my spine as I bring the kettlebell down. Everything's taut. My spine is neutral as I hinge at the hip and send my butt back in space. And it's such a simplified movement once you actually know how to do it. It looks like there's all these moving parts and it's just not. We start with two kettlebells in front of us like this. I'm gonna actually just straight up demo it now. We tilt the kettlebell onto its side. I'm gonna hike it up into that triangle. I'm gonna squeeze my butt and send it into flight, send it on its little journey. And then I'm gonna wait for that kettlebell to cross my midline so that I have the actual feedback. Oh, it's time to respond to this environmental input, this ball swinging through space. If you try and do it too early, you're gonna be all wonky, and then one of those things is gonna happen, like you're gonna get too long or it's gonna be too low. You need to let the kettlebell actually move you. You're responding to the kettlebell, which is another reason why the kettlebell is such a fantastic tool. It's a cannonball moving through space, so it's training our senses, our proprioception, how to create leverage with a moving object three-dimensionally. It's the shit. So here we go. Less talking, more doing. Okay, another really important thing, how to breathe. So we are bracing, we are breathing and bracing under load whenever we're lifting weights, especially with the kettlebell swing. I am exhaling as I send the kettlebell on its journey. And then I'm exchanging my air at the top of the repetition. So I'm gonna inhale as the kettlebell's coming down, pack that air in, brace, kind of like expanding my trunk like it's a can that I'm pressurizing, like an aluminum can, plugged at the butt and mouth. And now I'm ready to receive that weight and actually just perform the movement in a safe way. If you're exhaling and getting all flaccid when you go to actually be under load, you're going to significantly reduce how safe this exercise is. It's going to make it much more dangerous for your spine because your spine is supported, through your actual superficial structure, like your fascia and your muscles along your spine. But the inside of your spine is supported through the pressure that you generate in your torso. So I want to be packed, loaded as I'm coming down, getting ready to brace under load. A really important thing with kettlebells is you actually need a heavy enough kettlebell to get the proper feedback. Another way to say it is the kettlebell is going to, if it's too light, it's going to become hard to feel the kettlebell and have it actually organize you in space under load. Because you can get away with shitty mechanics. I can get away with shitty mechanics with this little guy, 40 pounds, which is a great weight to start out if you're just getting started. But like you don't have to do everything right and you can get away with it. But everything changes when you got like a 44 kilogram bell, which I think is just shy of 100 pounds, but I'm American and I'm dumb. So I don't know exactly. I think it's about that. Off the top of my head, you got a calculator, Wally? Forget it. So this guy is good if you're getting started, but you want to just make sure that you have enough kettlebell to actually get the feedback to organize yourself and create proper leverage under load. Okay, I'm going to demo with the little guy again, and then I'll demo with the big guy, and we'll bring the whole thing and wrap it up, and we'll go over all the elements you want to pay attention to. Okay, I've got my kettlebell dragged down at 45 degrees. I'm gonna hike it up in between my legs and send it on its journey. I'm gonna brace down here. Now this is light enough that I could talk to you while I'm doing it, so I'm going to. But you'll notice that like there's this calm kind of easeful in between repetitions, the bell's floating, and it creates this opportunity to like be soft and then tense. Soft, explode, soft, explode, boom. Okay? Watch my head, how it's following the kettlebell. My spine is neutral, butt's going back in space. I'm not squatting. I've got my lats engaged. The bell's high and tight in that triangle. Boom. I could do this for a long time. And, you know, there's different styles of kettlebell training. There are people lifting absurdly heavy kettlebells and training it in a style of like more like powerlifting, where it's like high intensity, low repetitions. Great for increasing strength, definitely putting on muscle, but you run the risk in those higher intensity rep ranges of getting snapped up. I don't think it has to be that way. Look at Edward Troyce. He's an absolute animal. He's smaller than me, I think, and he's just an absolute beast. So, what was I just saying about that? Yeah, so the different styles. So another style of kettlebell training is like this lower intensity, higher volume, kind of cardiorespiratory kettlebell training, where you're gonna burn like a ton of calories. And it's fantastic for your cardiorespiratory fitness. And that's great. There's no right or wrong way. You find a style that you like. I personally like somewhere in the middle. That's why I like this 44 kilogram. And then this, what's this one? This is an 80-pound kettlebell. So like 80 and about 100. And yeah, in the next video, we'll talk about how to actually organize your kettlebell gear. What ones to get in the very beginning. Like what are the main kettlebells you need, because each kettlebell movement has its own demands as far as the weight you can use. I can two-handed swing a hell of a lot more than I can one-handed swing. I like to one-hand swing this big girl now, but I'm starting to want a heavier one for my two-handed swings. Can I press that overhead? Not a chance. Not right now. Can I do this? I can like do a snatch with it and stick it, but like just strict pressing it, no. So I want a lighter one for that. So maybe something like this or a little heavier. And we'll go over all of that, you know, for men, women, just getting started and stuff like that. Where to get your kettlebells, all that business. So recap. Kettlebell swinging can be incredibly good for you, and it can be totally safe if you follow these steps, which is make sure that you're breathing and bracing and getting big through your torso on the load when you're loading the movement. You are engaging the lats, pulling that kettlebell high and tight and sending your butt back in space instead of squatting down. And you keep the spine neutral through the movement, and you let that kettlebell cross the midline as you receive the kettlebell into the hinge. Squeeze the butt, send it into space. Let the spine remain neutral so you don't break that line of tension. You'll be kettlebelling for the rest of your life, showing your grandkids. Okay, now I'm gonna demo my big guy. I don't know which one of my kids tied this little handkerchief on, but I think it's kind of cute. And so I just leave it, doesn't get in my way. So just for you to see that like this is a very big bell for most people, and you can still do it safely. All the same things apply as before. I'm gonna hike it in. I'm not gonna be able to talk to you while I'm doing this weight, but here's what taking the big boy for a ride looks like when we're implementing all of those things that make the kettlebell swing safe. here, and then down. So I always finish the repetition. This is good to remember. I always finish the repetition here, and then from here, I set it down. You don't want to be, I've seen some people like try and finish their repetition when the bell's all high in the air and like drop it or bail. If you're outside, you can bail your kettlebells, which is another great reason for being outside. But yeah, finish your rep in between the legs, set the kettlebell down. So like, subscribe, comment, all your questions, send them down below. We're gonna have endless amounts of training content coming your way, follow along trainings, exercise tutorials, everything that I understand and know about having a minimalist training outside is how I like it. And all the things that I've learned to keep me or get me out of chronic pain and keep me out of chronic pain with very few tools. If you see what's here, this is pretty much all I use right here. A sandbag, some bells, some kettlebells, or some clubs, some kettlebells, and you'll learn about all my other tools in time. So thanks for watching.